Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Race 6 of the Noor Championship from the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. We know that this place can be evil, we also know it's a very lovable racetrack. Look at the current championship standings. SGP leading the way, 12 points ahead of Demon R, who's a couple of points ahead of Steve F1. Mitch in 4th on 67 points, Conrad 5th on 50, Jason in 6th, one ahead of SRI in 7th, with Dave the Harp in 8th on 33 points and Gary in 9th on 29. 3 behind him is both Twilight and Fluffy Planet. Joint 10th place on 26 points. In 12th place we've got Jimmy on 21. Then we've got Rich Blues and Art Pal tied for 13th place on 18 points, and Bunsell in 15th on 13, Hayes 16th on 11, and Tyler in 17th on 0. Let's have a look then at qualifying result, and Steve F1 once again pole position, fantastic time for 121.178. No one could get near that today. Demon R second place on a 121.790, and there's hardly a gap between him and SGP in third, who got a 21.791. Jason very close as well on a 0.803, with Mitch in 5th place, Fluffy in 6th. The gaps once again very minute. Conrad in 7th lines up alongside Dave the Harp in 8th, and then we've got SRI in 9th and Art Pal in 10th. Formerly Gary starts 11th with Hay alongside him in 12th, with Twilight starting 13th, a difficult qualifying for him, and Bunsell 14th. Jimmy will start 15th, and Rich Blues choosing to not set a lap time here at Brands Hatch. But once again I want to mention just how close those gaps are. It's absolutely brilliant to see. Okay, we're on for a 29 lap race around the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of mayhem. Anyway, it's time to hand over to me. And joining me on commentary here at Brands Hatch is the one and only Scotsman. It's Raymond. How are you, Ray?
I'm doing very well, I'm Irish.
Oh, bugger. And there I was thinking you were half Welsh. Ignoring that, Steve F1 once again on pole position with Demon R alongside him as we wait for the lights to go out, and away they go, do they not yet? Now they do, and it's a terrible start from Steve F1. He's losing the lead straight away to Demon R. SGP's trying to cover off Mitch on the inside as well, but Steve F1 coming under loads of pressure as we make our way down into the dip. We're going to see cars. We're going to see cars off track, and there's Fluffy doing it already. Okay, so we make their way round. Druids, Demon R leading the way. Mitch has managed to get ahead of SGP. That's brilliant for the current championship standings. Steve F1 though, I think everyone, Ray, would expect Steve F1 to win this race if he can get past Demon R. He's trying, but he can't quite do it yet.
Yeah, he's quite strong here, so I would expect him to get a good start, but yeah, he must have just got too much wheel spin and it kicked back in, down towards pit wall.
That it did. In the background, Twilight's got a little bit wide. Steve F1 trying to put some pressure on Demon R. I think the technical term for Steve F1 around here would probably be the Brands Hatch ball bag. Dipping a wheel as Demon R, but he's got a little bit of a gap. Mitch on the front foot here now as Conrad all over the back of Jason as well. Steve F1 actually going defensive on Mitch, which is fantastic to see. Got to mention once again that the pit lane is closed, so there's no fresh tyres for anybody.
Yeah, gotta keep the social distancing down to a minimum.
Exactly. Someone might want to tell Mitch that he's closing in on Steve F1. Steve F1 going defensive again. Conrad pressuring Jason, and David Harp is there as well. SGP though is in a fantastic situation really, in that his two main title rivals are ahead of him, and he can follow them and just see how they're going to get on. Conrad trying to put some pressure on Jason. Jason had a brilliant race last time out, and he's squeezing Conrad a little bit. Conrad's going to try and force him around the outside. Is he? No, the grip isn't there, as I'm sure you know, Ray. That's a horrible little corner, that Surtees.
Yeah, especially if you brake late and get on the marbles that are just on the outside there. You just go straight on. Always a back wheel on the grass there, trying to pressure Jason here.
I think Jason tried to leave a car's width and got it about 2 centimetres too narrow. Steve F1, is he going to have a look through the horrible, tricky right-handers? No, he decides he thinks better of it by the looks of things. Got to be careful through this right-hander that we can see the drivers coming through now. We've seen in the past cars will spin there, and yeah, I think we'll see it here again. It's just one of those corners, isn't it, Ray? If you get a little bit wide, you could easily end up spinning around.
Yeah, on an exit, it's definitely just that curb and the grass will just spin you round as soon as you put the acceleration on.
Oh, Conrad going for the move.
Going for it.
Yeah, up the
And
inside.
there. And Steve F1's looking on Demon R. And Mitch and SGP as well.
Yeah, so all kicking off here on lap 3. Steve F1 trying to really apply some pressure, although I think Demon R can handle it at the moment. Although this is a track where I know Demon R and SGP, or Demon R's gone a little bit wide. Yeah, Demon R and SGP are not particularly strong around here. They like the track, or Steve F1's got a decent run here as they make their way down through Pilgrim's Drop up to Hawthorne Hill and into the Hawthorne Bend. Can Steve F1 get ahead? No, he can't. He's hung out to dry. Oh, switchback maybe. That sounds like a song. Switchback maybe. Don't you call me baby. Anyway, that's enough. I've not had a drink yet. I will soon.
That'll be a switchblade.
Okay, well, we've got Mitch. He's trying to close in.
SGP getting it.
I think SGP's arse has just got a little bit tighter. Steve F1's in a decent position here though. He's got a good run on Demon R down towards turn 1, commonly known as a horrible bloody corner where people will spin. His real name, Conrad, under pressure from Jason. I'm guessing Steve F1 didn't get to it. Oh, Dave the Arp taking a lot of grass there. No surprise. Jason up the inside of Conrad. Can he get the move done? No, he can't. Conrad's going to cover him off.
Yep, and now Fluffy and Bunso. Is Fluffy going to get the move done on Bunso? What Fluffy's done in 8th, he's been up there at the front pack. It's just a track that you can find yourself at the back of the grid, even while you've been up at the front for most other races. It's one of the tracks, it's a weird one.
Oh, Steve F1, I don't know if it was squeezed there, he may have been. I think Demon R was taking the Jason defensive line, may have got Steve F1 dipping a wheel on the grass. That'll wake him up. Not that he really needs waking up, and if it does, then someone needs to do a wellness check on him, see if he's alright. Knock on his window, Mitch, and ask him if he's okay. He might be breathing a little bit heavy after that one. SGP's got a decent run on Mitch now as well. Yeah, turn 1, Paddock Hill Bend it is. Lovely corner, apart from when you get it wrong, and then it's an absolute evil beast. Conrad trying to close in on the back of SGP. Yeah, you were mentioning about Fluffy there. He's been very strong in the last couple of races. At the moment, though, he's dropped off a bit. He's in 8th place still. But yeah, this is a track that is so unforgiving. We may see the likes of these front runners here dip a wheel on the grass and get away with it, and we may see others dip a wheel on the grass and not get away with it. A lot of it comes down to luck and experience. As Connor dips a little bit wide. He got away with it though. Fluffy trying to close in on the back of Dave the Harp in the background as well. Conrad, is he a little deep into Surtees? Oh yes he is, and that's what happens.
Keep it straight. Oh, there we go.
He just about gets away with that one, but he's going to have dirty tyres now into the next corner. Jason, though, I think he's perhaps wisely just backed off a little bit, see if Connor can get it slowed down on his own. Jason comes through the corner so much faster. Good driving from the pair of them there. Jason realising that Conrad may struggle a little bit with the dirty tyres and now trying to apply a little bit of pressure. Or was SGP trying to close in on Mitch as well. And yeah, what a fantastic opening 5 laps of the race it's been up at the front. We've not seen much from the rest of the pack at the moment, but that's the way it's going to happen, unfortunately, when we see 6 cars as close as these are up at the front.
Yeah, especially with our battles and how close they are, and Jason up pressuring Conrad again. Hopefully Conrad keeps a cool round here with the pressure and he doesn't start his angry driving. Is that what we call it?
Is it dangry? Dangry driving. Well, it's like you said though, this track is so unforgiving, it can punish you so much that it only takes dipping one wheel and it can change your mood for the rest of the week. And I hope for Conrad that he's able to keep facing in the correct direction. And is that SGP having a look at Mitch? It is. And I think Steve F1's got a decent run. No, he's not attacking, neither is SGP. I think SGP's playing the sensible game here. He's not really attacking, but he's trying to sort of let Mitch know, look, come on, speed up, we can't let them get ahead. And I think Steve F1 is playing a bit of a sensible game in that he's not attacking Demon R right now, they're just creating that little bit of a separation. I'm just having a look at the lap times they're doing, sort of mid to high 22s. That is off the pace quite a bit for the front runners. I would expect him to be seeing to the 21s. So there is a bit more pace out there to be had for the guys up at the front. SGP now got a run on Mitch. Is he going to go for it down into turn 1, into Paddock Hill Bend?
Yep, he's going for it.
That he is. Oh, a little bit of contact. Oh, I don't know if there was anything really in that. But if I was Mitch, I'd be reporting the hell out of him. God, we need to take points off him.
Yeah, is he playing dirty?
Yeah.
He wants to be like the dirty champ.
Yeah, he wants to be like SRI. Or Conrad's a little bit wide there. He's got away with it. Dave the Op, how he's doing. Or Fluff is very wide. Gets away with it though. Interestingly, Fluffy has dropped a position. I couldn't quite tell who to because the cars were coming past me so quick and I wasn't really looking. No, sorry, it's not. It's Mitch. Yeah, sorry. So Mitch, after having that off, has come on behind David Harper ahead of Fluffy. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, I'm joking obviously about SGP and nudging him. There was a tiny bit of contact, but in all fairness, it didn't look like it was anything risky or anything intentional or anything like that. I wouldn't be surprised if
it was getting booked.
It was done. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if SGP had no idea that it happened. He does tend to. He's like a horse with those blinders on. Doesn't see anything to the side of him.
Yeah.
Bunsen again. So interestingly though, what that will allow is Fluffy is a little bit closer to Mitch than he was to Dave the Arch. He may be able to latch onto Mitch's slipstream as SRI coming under pressure from Twilight. Bunsel's gone wide. Is he going to survive? He may do just as SRI and Twilight have a look at going past him. Bunsel compromised himself there, getting a little bit wide, and he's probably going to get passed now by Twilight. Is he? No, he's recovered nicely and manages to slot in as Mitch just ran wide a little bit there behind Dave the Hart.
Yeah.
Dave just got slidey.
I don't see that. Yeah, Mitch will be trying to push to get back up to where was he? Fourth?
Yeah, third.
Third. Yeah. So he'll be pushing and that, try to get his head down, get away from the pack, because sometimes when you get into the pack, you just can't get out of it.
Yeah, and the last thing you want to do when you're down is to go pushing and forgetting to breathe. You know what it's like? Push, breathe, push, and breathe.
That's what I had to do when the wife had wins.
Okay, well, Mitch now is all over the back of Dave the Harp, and if Dave looks in his mirror, he may have a few wins. But yeah, I'm just having a look there. Who's that? Bunsel. Bunsel's got a run on SRI in the background. Is he going to be able to drive about it? He is. He's up the inside. Mitch having a look up the inside as well, and he's going for it. Oh, but he's a little bit too sideways. Dave gets a little wide as well. Oh, and a little bit of contact between. Oh, Fluffy. He's been collected. Mitch is going to survive, but it's going to cost him places. Oh, disaster. Fluffy's got away with it, though, I think.
Yeah, I think Fluffy got away with it. He was just coming into the hairpin as we peeled off to the leaders here. Steve F1 getting closer to Demon R.
Just trying to have a look, see if he's attacking. I'm guessing he's not really attacking. No, he's not. He's just hugging Demon R's bumper. I think that he's still trying to sort of break away from SGP. And to be fair, that's probably what Steve F1 is thinking. He's not really thinking about Demon R as such. It's more about get as far away from SGP as possible. That's a lot of dust. That's Conrad. He's got away with it.
Oh, he's He's testing it, isn't he?
He is. He's testing, or no, he's taking quite a narrow entry. Is he going to run wide? No, he's all right. Okay, he's dipping his toe. He may find that Branzach is, well, if you ask Johnny Herbert, Branzach does bite your feet, literally. But yeah, so for Steve F1, getting away from SGP is what he's going to want to do regarding the current championship standings, because the title fight is still on, and there is a little bit of a gap back to SGP now. So let's see, what's the pace of the bin? Low 22, so they have picked the pace up a little bit, but I think Steve F1 will be feeling like he can go considerably faster. But it's one of those situations, as we know, if they fight now, SGP's on them. So maybe Steve F1 just needs to wait for the opportune moment, because he's looking like Demon R's not as comfortable here as he was in Spa.
No, it looks as if he's just trying to keep on the track. He's not pushing too hard here. As you can see, like trying to make a gap on Steve F1, and you know, Steve F1's but
ball bag right there. It's the Brands Hatch ball bag.
Yeah, kind of Brands Hatch number one type guy, if you would say.
Oh, Twilight was a lovely overtake there. Yeah, absolutely right.
Nice. That was a nice wee switchback there, wasn't it?
It looked like it, yeah. It was a lovely little overtake in a tricky corner, to be fair, as well. But the thing is, we know that Twilight is capable of doing that. We see Dave the Harm there recovering, and Mitch recovering as well from that unfortunate crash that they had. Conrad's got a little bit of a gap back to Jason now, but we know what Jason's like. He's relentless. Given the opportunity, he's just consistent. Oh, Conrad, no! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Send a medic. Oh, careful, coming on. Oh.
He's just about alright there. Fluffy's done well to avoid him. He's going to have to be careful though now, as Conrad is going to have a lot of dirt and heat through those tyres. Demon R's gone very wide at Surtees. Steve F1, SGP's gone very wide as well, but Steve F1 is real close. Is he bomb drafting him? Yeah, might be. I think he is. No, he's going for it.
He's gone in the inside here.
Yeah, he's going for it. Maybe Demon R on that occasion realised that he got too wide. A bit of dirt on the tyres, maybe a bit of marbles, and didn't go the defensive route. Oh, nearly squeezed out wide, but Steve F1 is now through into the lead of the race. The question is, can Demon R keep on the back of him? Maybe it's a case as well for Demon R that he's thinking, well, we'll let Steve F1 take the pressure. Well, that's only going to work if he can stay right behind him. SGP closed in a little bit there, but not a lot. Twilight here. Oh, Twilight there. Twilight. He's safe. He's safe. That's the mate.
Oh,
Gary's not. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh.
He had his hot pants on there.
He did. I reckon. Well, we had Kylie's sister in the previous corner with Twilight, and then Kylie come along. I'll show you.
I'll spin me around.
Yeah, I can just imagine it though. In the it's one of the situations in the cockpit where Gary would go, "Oh, unlucky Twilight," and then 2 seconds later, okay, what we got then? Just saw SRI attacking and passing. Attacking but not passing Fluffy. Fluffy's gone wide though. Conrad's gone wide. Can he save it? No, he can't. Off he goes into the barrier. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
A lot of people wearing the hot pants today.
That they are. Well, summer is on its way. I just had visions of different monster guys wearing hot pants. Trust me, not a pretty sight. I'm pretty sure that if I took my t-shirt off nowadays, if there was any children about, they'd go, "Mummy, food." But anyway, what we got? Fluffy under pressure from SRI. Oh no, he's not! Oh, how's SRI getting? I think he's going to return safely. I think he has just about. I mean, it's one of the things though around this track, as we've said, it can bite you, and it will. But when it does, what are you going to do? How are you going to cope with it? Steve F1 running a little wide. Demon R nearly gone wide. Steve F1 has already opened out a bit of a gap.
SGP's catching Demon R as well.
Yeah, maybe Demon R's pushing too hard. Or maybe SGP realises this is an opportunity now. I mean, to be fair, as we sort of joked early on, I think most people in DGT come to this track thinking, okay, if Steve F1 qualifies up near the front, he's got a damn good chance of winning this race. As Conrad made the move there on Jimmy. As he's trying to recover. Rich Blues, we've not seen much of him throughout the course of this race, sporting his natural livery in his Porsche. I don't know what's happened to his pink one, but maybe from the way this race is going, maybe he just didn't want to get the pink livery dirty around this track. Steve F1 still opening up that gap. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, Demonar's done a 21.7, SGP's in the 21.9, so the pace is picking up a little bit, but Steve F1 with his qualifying time was what, 6/10 of a second faster, I think, in qualifying, so he has the ability here to pull away, and for the likes of SGP, he can really afford to Conrad's got Jimmy on the outside of him. Art Pal there as well. They managed to go side by side through the corner. Gary ahead of them as well as Hay and SRI. Yeah, SRI having had his off, he's now in the clutches of Hay. Gary, who had his off, making the move on Hay now, and Conrad, who had his off a little while
trying
ago.
to get through there.
Oh, that's a risky one. Ooh, breathe.
And push.
Yes.
Is that going on Art Pal on the inside of Jimmy? Jimmy went a wee bit wide.
Yeah, it looks like it was. Jimmy's got them. Maybe Art Pal went a little bit hot there, not sure.
And now Gary pressuring Conrad. Yeah.
Leave him alone, Gary. Leave him alone.
He's got the run, and so is Jimmy. What's Jimmy going to do? Is he going to bum draft one of them to help him?
You might bump. Make sure you get the P in there, Raymond, otherwise it's a very different scenario. Mitch on the back of Fluffy here. We'll have to keep an eye, kind of, whether Conrad and Gary do change places. I think Mitch has closed in on Fluffy. Yes, he has. He's closed the gap. No, sorry. Fluffy was ahead of Mitch. No, sorry, Fluffy was behind Mitch.
So Mitch made...
Something's happened with Mitch, yeah.
Instead?
Possibly, but he's coming back now, though, or at least trying to. Fluffy defending, though, into turn 1. Paddock Hill Bend into the drop, and then up into Druids. David Hart's got a little bit wobbly, I think. I'm trying to see in the background. You know what? I think Connor is ahead of... most of the pack. He's got SRI in front of him now as Fluffy comes through Graham Hill Bend. Mitch right up his chuff, and I think Mitch is trying to find where he may be able to get past, but not quite able to do it at the moment.
There's not many places to pass here. A couple of straights, but these corners here, it's quite tricky to pass on them.
It definitely is. If you defend
especially these double right-handers just coming up here, because if you get it wrong, you're going off.
Yeah, as we've already seen, it's one of those things as well. If you defend the inside, if someone drives around the outside of you, then fair play. It's a very difficult place to overtake around the outside. Conrad trying to put some pressure on SRI, may have given it a little nudge. I don't know. Oh dear. Conrad's off.
Conrad's off as well. Nah, I don't think he gave SRI a nudge. I think SRI just mistimed his turning.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
But I'll give Gary the opportunity here.
He could, especially with Conrad having had a bit of an off. Mitch, he's trying to really put some pressure on Fluffy. He is trying to get past. I mean, you mentioned there's not many places you can overtake. It's one of those situations, I think, from sort of this point on, if you're up alongside, then you can really have a good go at the overtake. You've just got to make sure you get it right, because yeah, as you said, if you get it wrong, you're going off the track. But if you're not, this is not a track where you can go late braking somebody. It's not that type of circuit.
Yeah, it's too slidey on the brakes. I don't know if it's the time of day. Oh, Mitch on the marbles there. I don't know if it's the time of day the race was held at or what, but it just felt slidey on the brakes, and that could push you. If you're trying to late brake somebody, I'll just give you the understeer in the corner.
just got a little bit sideways there, then maybe the pressure starting to apply. Also around this track, there's not many big heavy braking zones, so it's not like you're really going to be on the brakes that much, so it is difficult. Mitch has got a decent run here though, may be able to have a look around the outside. He's looking, he may be better off going for a switchback, or is he going to try it? No, he's going for switchback. He's going to try and get up the inside, or nearly wide. No, he's not going to get up the inside. He's trying to carry the speed around the outside into Druids. Now we go for the switchback. Can he get the move done? No, he can't. Fluffy's defending brilliantly here. Ray was so shocked at Fluffy defending brilliantly. Oh, you've just turned into a robot. You've turned into a robot. You proper went robotic then. It was like some weird radio robot song. Yeah, Gary had a bit of a spin there. I'm sure Ray will come back in a moment. What have we got? So yeah, the leaders, they're spread. Steve F1 leading, Demon R second place, SGP third, Jason in fourth, all on his own at the moment. Fluffy in the battle for fifth with Mitch. How's your audio, Gary? Not Gary, Raymond.
It's better now, sorry.
Yeah, it is better now. Yeah, sorry. Mitch trying to make the move now again. He's even closer on Fluffy than he was on the previous lap. He wasn't up alongside until later down the straight, but Fluffy fends him off again. This is a brilliant bit of racing between these two. Mitch is going to have a look around the outside, tuck in for the switchback.
Yep, he's done it that time.
He
was trying that the lap before and he couldn't get it. He just made it work there.
Yeah, Daddy did, and Fluffy I think realised on that occasion there was not a lot he could do about it. Brilliant racing between those two for those couple of laps there as we move back now to the pack around 10th. Oh, I think Jimmy's just given Hay a bit of a nudge that's ended up nudging Art Pal. Jimmy though, he did tuck in behind Art Pal there, but I think Bonsall may have just bump drafted him back past. So yeah, all a little bit twitchy. I mean, you mentioned that the circuit is slippery. You're absolutely right, the circuit is slippery around Brands Hatch, and with the marbles, as we can see, if you get out onto the marbles, it really is treacherous.
Oh, Conrad off there. He went wide. They're going side by side round this corner. Oh, Alpals gave him the room.
He has, but Jimmy's dipped a wheel. Oh, he's crashing. He manages to get. He did. This is interesting. A wheel like that, then you basically, be thankful at the end of the race, I reckon.
Yeah, I might be having audio issues at some point, so if you don't hear me talk back, you know why.
That's all right. I at least get the when you drop out and come back in, which is fine. Conrad's finding himself in a position, doesn't really want to be in though, 8th place with Art Powell behind him. Art Powell's got Jimmy behind him. Oh, he's got Jimmy sneaking up alongside him.
I thought Bunsell was going in there as well there, but he's not. He's side by side with SRI.
Yeah, I think Bunsell gave Art Powell a little bum draft. Jimmy, I mean, this is the thing, right? Okay, Jimmy, we know he's not had any practice really around this track. He doesn't have the time. But for him to be dipping wheels like he is and getting away with it shows that he's... Oh no, sorry. Commentator's curse. Yeah.
Who was it? I was, I think I heard some of the team's radios and Bunsell backed out. SRI didn't because Bunsell knew that that was coming.
Yeah. When Bunsell can see carnage coming, run. But yeah, I mean, what I was trying to say there for Jimmy, with limited practice, dipping wheels as he was, and not causing carnage, maybe a bit lucky, but also a bit of experience. Unfortunately, one too many times there, and he ended up dipping a wheel in a place he couldn't recover. Conrad kicking up a little bit of dust there, has got Arpal and Bunsell behind him. SRI's got Twilight behind him. Up at the front though, the gaps haven't really spread much, but Steve F1 is looking a little bit comfortable. Arpal, I don't think he's necessarily comfortable, but having said that, Bunsell, Conrad, no! Oh, dips a wheel on the grass under braking.
He's still going.
Holy
He's still
cat! How the hell has he saved that?
I would hate to have a drifting championship if Conrad's in it.
That's a good compliment. Oh, Fluffy, what's happened there?
I think he just got wide on the corner. He's
going to have to be careful here. He's going to have to be careful. Oh, no! Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, Fluffy.
Oh, Conrad. Conrad was there. Oh, needs to be careful on that return to track there.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting...
He might have thought he had the space. Oh, he's slowing down. He might have thought that he had the gap there to get around and facing forward. Maybe it just didn't work out the way he wanted to. He's slowing down.
Well, unless his intention was to nail Conrad, it definitely didn't work out the way he meant it to. But yeah, he's definitely waiting for Connor. I mean, unfortunately, it's one of those, like I say, he may have thought he had the gap, but you have to be so careful when you return into track, because I mean, I think that's one of those that, in all fairness, from a commentator's point of view, yes, that's an unsafe return to track. I mean, we saw Jimmy having a crash a few moments ago. His wasn't an unsafe return to track, I don't think, because he was still crashing when he ended up on the road. Whereas with Fluffy there, he'd ended up stationary in the barrier, trying to get going again, and yeah, unfortunately, ended up right on the racing line. For Arpal though, that's worked out quite nicely, and for Bunsell, because they were behind that, so they've managed to gain a couple of places at the penalty really of Fluffy and Conrad. But yeah, if you're Arpal, not a bad position to be in at this point. First time racing Brands Hatch. Oh, I thought someone had gone off there. Yeah, first time racing Brands Hatch, and he's in 7th place at the moment. Not bad.
Not bad at all, and I think that was... Oh, Jimmy's gone.
Yep. Bye-bye, Jimmy. Oh, Bunsell having a look? No, he's alright. I was going to start singing a new version of Jimmy Mac then. Jimmy Mac. SRI having a look at the inside of Bunsell as Bunsell goes a little bit wide. I think SRI may get this move done if he's brave on the brakes. And he is. He's going to go deep though. He might get away with it. Bunsell's got to... Oh no, Bunsell hasn't got a good exit. He needs to clean that.
Get his tyres cleaned and up to temperature. Here comes Gary. I know what you were meaning. You're dirty person. Twilight and Gary here. Oh, Bunsell off again. He's still got the dirty tyres. Dirty boy needs to get a wash.
He really does. But okay, it's one of those.
Come on, get your mind out the gutter.
I'm trying.
Conrad!
Oh, he saves it. He's done well. But what I was trying to sort of hint at is, if you have one off here, you have to be so careful, because you can have another one straight away. I mean, for example, Gary trying to make the move on Twilight. Is Connor? He's not going to try and make it 3 wide there, is he? That's a difficult one. Oh, that's... Oh, Twilight's end up in the... Yeah, I think that may be a little bit too over-aggressive, if I'm honest.
Yeah, just... I think... Conrad's mind's just a wee bit off at the minute, and he's trying to take chances at the minute, or he thought he could get through there. Like, it looked as if it was good to begin with, but with maybe Twilight just didn't get the angle in the corner.
I mean, we do know if you're on the outside of turn 1, it is so very easy to end up off the track, but it's just one of those. With what we're trying to work with the drivers on the moment about making sure we're all giving each other room, and yes, go for overtakes, but let's not go for Risky overtakes. Oh, Bell, no! Oh, he suffers as Jason did a few seasons ago in that very corner. As we saw Art Powell. Oh, he tried to get going again, but he spun around. He's going to have to be careful of cars coming around the track. And you know what? I'm looking on the track map. He is still stationary, so he has waited for everybody to come past him. I mean, he's new to driving.
He had the fucking golden, sorry for my language, he has the golden hot pants on there. Double spinning it there.
double spinning and double weight. He's stood there with a pose, sticking his arse out, Demon hard dipping a wheel on the grass. But yeah, I mean, that's
his blonde wig on. It's a 5 foot one or something.
You don't need a blonde wig, he's got blonde hair anyway.
SGP on the back of Demonar, so he has got up to the back of Demonar there.
Yeah, by the looks of it, SGP has increased his pace consistently in the 121s, and maybe Demon are just not quite feeling it here at Brands Hatch. As as we've mentioned before, once you start having problems here, it can get worse and worse and worse. SGP's got a decent run on him, heading down towards turn 1 into Paddock Hill Bend. Demon are going defensive. SGP looking for a big switch. Demon R's wide. He's dipped to wheel. Oh, nearly takes out SGP, but off into Conrod's barrier. He's managed to bounce back onto the road, but I don't know if he's conscious. Yes, he is. Oh, but that's massively costly for him. Jason probably won't have seen that, but he may see that he's now a bit closer to a car ahead. Mitch is all on his own. I think Dave may wish that he was a bit more on his own, but he's got SRI not too far behind him. SRI having broken away from Fluffy. Fluffy's under pressure though from Twilight and Gary. Bunsell there as well. Bunsell just dipped a wheel and nearly got sideways. He's actually got a decent run now on Gary. Having a look up the inside. But he's he's in
there.
Yeah, he was cautious, but didn't give it up. I like it. Oh, Gary though, he's given Twilight the international message for speed the hell up.
Yep. There.
Oh, Gary, he needs the international message for slow the hell down. Oh no! Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh, was that an... Oh, I've got to ask the question, was that potentially an unsafe return to track? I don't know.
He was spinning into the corner from the outside, so I think he was still in his spin, and once he hit the barrier and it bounced him back onto the track near enough, well, it was the apex that they all collided on, so...
You're clearly a better cameraman than I do, because I ain't got a clue what happened there. All I know is that unfortunately Conrad has been collected in that one. I think Fluffy's got away with it. He wasn't involved in that one, but I might have to have a look at your replays after this race and see what I can find out. Bunsell on the back of Twilight now, getting a little bit twitchy, but he's safe for the moment.
Oh, he's got here and he's inside there. That was nice. Oh, hey, out deep brake there. He managed to get past Bunsell. Jesus, that surprised me there.
I was going to say, is that the name of a new movie? Deep Brake.
Late brake, deep braking, late braking. Come on, I'm Irish.
I tell you, my mind really is in the gutter, because I was just thinking that the first adult movie that was ever made was actually played in cinemas.
Was it?
Yeah. Do you know,
Freeway. No,
hey, you don't want to be in there on that one. I think Twilight realising that there was a bit of danger there. I think Hay did manage to back out of it eventually, but it's a tricky situation. You've got to be so careful. I mean, really, there's not much point in making it 3 wide there as Fluffy gets the wheel on the grass. Twilight's right up his chuff. Hay there as well. Don't go putting the car where you don't want to be, guys. Oh no, Hay's given Twilight a nudge. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah, guys have got to remember the concertina effect as well that's going to come in when you're in the pack. Because like the first guy breaks and then the guy behind breaks.
Yeah.
Just maybe that wee bit earlier and kind of just backs everybody up. I think that's what just caught Hay out there.
Maybe, but it's one of those things though where they're the kind of crashes really we shouldn't be seeing. they're the simple ones that can be eradicated by drivers just going, there's a car in front of me, I've got to make sure I don't hit it. And I suppose that's part of what DGT's doing at the moment with the drivers, just trying to sort of make that more aware. It's like, okay, yeah, hey, he hit him, he waited, but we need to be still working on reducing those incidents as SRI going around the outside of David Harp. A little bit of contact, but they're both safe for the moment. Fluffy closing in as well. David Harp just behind SRI there, but it's difficult. Oh no, SRI's in the gravel. Oh, he's binged it.
He's off.
He may have been assisted, I don't know, it's difficult to tell with that camera angle. We know that these corners are treacherous anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where when cars are side by side, then sometimes things can happen. People can have a wobble, and accidents can happen. But when you're behind someone, if that car ahead of you, as long as they're not like brake checking you or braking 200 metres early, then really you shouldn't be hitting the back of them off into the gravel at a corner, because really you should be slowing down. Anyway, Fluffy, how are you going to cope with the guys behind him? You know what, Ray? I hadn't noticed. We're on like 28 to 29.
I know, I've just seen that there. It's like, what the hell was that? That went quick. The last time you said we were on that.
Oh, Jimmy's off. Jimmy's off. I think he may have been assisted.
Where did he go? He went shooting to see somebody's mother.
I think he went to the Chinese to pick up some dinner. Fluffy got a run on Dave. No, Dave Hart's slow. I don't mean that. I don't mean that. He's like he's slow. I mean he's going slow. I'm wondering whether he's just waited for the pack to come past there.
Does he feel like he nudged SRI?
Maybe he might. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he thought
he's picked back up on pace now.
Yeah. So you know what? I think you might be right there. Maybe he thinks that his overtake on SRI on the previous lap was not quite fair. Twilight got a little bit wide there, out of shape, isn't that slow? So yeah, I mean, it's taken David off a little bit of time to give the position back. And what I would say is that obviously, oh no, Hayes in the gravel. Yeah, one of the things I would say is, I mean, ideally give the position back as soon as possible. But yeah, interesting one. It'd be interesting to see David Harp's thoughts on that one. Oh no, is that Hart pal? He was in 7th place and he's just binned it at Paddock Hill Bend. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. He was on for a fabulous result. Now he's just on for a painful final lap. Steve F1 though, he's already on to the last couple of corners. Since he's got past Demon Art, he's been pretty much untouchable. SGP is trying closing the gap in, but not able to do it. Steve F1 then taking the win at Brands Hatch. It's no surprise. He's going to take the Brands Hatch ball by checkered flag. I don't know, it was Scottish accent. SGP taking second place. And interestingly, Demon Art has been closed in on by Jason. So Jason's sniffing the chance of a third, but couldn't quite get it. So third and fourth for them. Mitch, he's done well since he had his adventures earlier on to come along and finish in 5th place. Fluffy, how the hell has he
get back up there? That was nice.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's been recent races where he's been up there but suffered at the end, and this occasion he suffered early on and finished strong, which is good. Twilight, he's going to finish 7th, one of his best results of the season, and Bunsell in 8th place. Is he going to hold on to that 8th place? He's got SRI behind him, Dave the Arp. Oh, he's off.
Bunsell, you've got the police behind you.
Yeah, slow down, Buzz. You know, what a finish. Oh,
Jimmy, Dave the Harp spun Hayes.
Well, he had a big off, didn't he? But where is he?
He's there.
What's he doing?
Is that him sitting on the side? There's
well, Arpal's going to cross the line in 13th. Billy, thank you very much.
Conrad, has he got issues with his car?
He might be out of fuel. I'd be surprised if he is. I think Hay was trying to help him out there, but yeah, an odd one. Yeah, I don't know if anything happened with Hay and Conrad on that last lap. I can't say I saw anything. I mean, I saw what we all saw there.
Didn't he go sideways on the last corner, but
well,
Conrad wasn't near him.
No, yeah, Hay went into the gravel, but that was at the end of the penultimate lap. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether it. It's an odd one that.
No, at the last lap when it was Dave the Hart, he and SRI, he went sideways round the last corner and just kind of stopped. Maybe his engine cut out. Don't know.
Maybe. Well, interesting one again. You got better cameras than I have. Bloody, I want to. Who you been paying?
What? I've got the same cameras as you.
Alright, you got better eyes than I have. Okay, on the screen at the moment, the unconfirmed race result, and I will mention it is unconfirmed until the stewards have done their job, if they have to do their job. But no surprise really, Steve F1 takes the win. Yeah, I think Demon R gave it his best, but yeah, a bit of an off day perhaps. SGP still got a grip on the championship title, so a fairly decent race for him. I've got to say, Jason, his last 2 races have been bloody brilliant.
Yeah, he's been strong.
He's strong and Swedish.
Yeah.
Mitch, a few adventures around a track that can be so evil, finishing 5th. I think he'd be happy with that, to be fair. Fluffy, I'm glad he ended up having a decent result there. Okay, there was the question of was it an unsafe return to track? I think from a commentator's perspective, yeah. It'd be interesting. I mean, to be fair, I think that's one that if I was Connor, I'd have been tempted to perhaps mention that one. Although saying that, I mean, Fluffy did wait for him, so yeah, I suppose it's a bit of an interesting one there. Twilight, I don't know how he's finished in 7th place, but I think he'll be happy with it.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
Yeah,
jumping about, telling Kate.
Yeah, I won. Bunsell had a decent race. Well, did he have a decent race? Bunsel's been working very hard over the last couple of championships at trying to race cleaner, and I think again he's shown that today.
Yeah. He had a good race on that. Yeah. Is that not Bunsel's best position?
I don't think. I'm not sure if it's his best ever. I'm thinking he may have had a 6th before, but it's his best for some time. If not his best ever. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely getting rewarded for his efforts now, that's for certain. And what he'll be finding, and I know this because people have been telling me, is that what he'll be finding is that he's able to have much better battles with people, because people are able to race with him, and it does make it so much better. SRI, well, he's useless unless we're cutting corners, so a nice place for him. To be fair though, for SRI, were there a few adventures in there? Maybe, but I think this is one of those tracks where that pack, from sort of Twilight down, they could have finished in any order whatsoever. So I think if you're at the higher echelons of that order, then I think people have to be happy.
Yep.
Jimmy finished in 10th place. He had a very difficult race, that's for certain. But yeah, I don't think Brands Hatch will be on his Christmas card list. Formerly Gary had a few adventures. I still want to have a look at whether he did a Fluffy, you know. But I'll have a look at that in my own spare time, before I go and watch the first ever adult movie that was played in cinemas. And that is a true fact, actually, by the way. The first ever adult movie was played in theatres, in cinemas. Well, not in cinemas. Cinemas didn't exist, really. It was played in theatres on a big screen. Yeah. And
well, that's just a cinema near enough.
Well, it is, yeah. It is, yeah. Do you know what the film was called? You're not going to believe me. Deep Throat.
Okay.
Honest to God, Google it, right? I am talking the truth. So anyway, I don't know why I mentioned that around Gary.
Why would I Google that? The wife looks into my Google history and sees.
Yeah, yeah. But can you just imagine that though? Like because it was in the 60s, I think. Like, oh darling, should we go and watch this new movie that's come out? Jesus Christ. Now before that, most movies were more sort of like adverts for helping during times of the war and stuff like that. So people would go to the cinema and actually watch adverts as well. But anyway, I waffle enough. David Hart finished in 12th. We saw him do a long wait for what appeared to be SRI. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say on that one other than, I mean, okay, he's waited, and progress, I think, for Dave, perhaps. I mean, sometimes it might take people a bit of time to process whether they think they had made a mistake or not. Art Powell, so unlucky. He was in 7th place twice, and one of those was at the start of the last lap. But yeah, I think, to be fair, if you'd have offered him, yeah, I think in many ways, if you'd have offered him 13th place before the race, he'd have probably took it. 7th place would have been an absolute bonus.
Would it though? He's quite a strong racer. Like, we've seen him there up at the top of the pack. He is quite a strong racer. I think it's just the curse of this track on everybody.
It is the curse of the track. I mean, I think he may have surprised himself. I mean, he has got.
He did when he spun it around and went to 13th.
Definitely. But I think this is one of those tracks where your first time really racing here, to be honest, I think the only thing you can really hope for is to get to the end of the race without too many crashes. And he was massively unfortunate because he was fairly and legitimately in that 7th place. I mean, he's showing the ability to race a bit, and the experience will come. Next time he comes to Brands Hatch, there'll be things that he won't do, and that's how it works, really. It's the same. We talked, what was it, Red Bull Short. We all were thinking that may be a carnage-filled race, and actually people used their experience and were a bit more sensible. Same with Spa. I mean, normally we'd see big crashes, Spa Turn 1, things like that, but no, I mean, to be fair, the drivers have been doing really well, and Art Powell was unlucky. Hey, an interesting race. I think his car might be bipolar because he was up and down, the side and up and down, and the side and up and down. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what was happening at the end there. What I would say is, though, probably, I think it'd be fair to say it is a bit odd to see a car sat towards the finish line now. I'd be interested to find out what was happening there.
You're close to the finish line, just
go just drive over to the finish line. And it's one of those things as well where I wouldn't want people to necessarily start thinking, well, if I stop before the finish line and let everybody through, then it'll let me off of anything I may have done in the race. Well, that's not how it works. So yeah, I mean, even with Conrad, I mean, I'm guessing he was frustrated with himself maybe, or even with other people. I mean, yes, he had a couple of spins on his own, so did others, but he was also collected by Fluffy with his returning to track. There was the other one with Gary that collected 2 or 3 people, and unfortunately for Conrad, I think it's just sort of like ants are piling mud onto the anthill more and more, and it's one of those things for Connor. If he pushes too hard to break from the pack but ends up making an error and being in the pack, then he's in the danger zone potentially. So I think for Connor, I don't know, maybe he needs a holiday like the rest of us do.
Because we haven't had one, to be honest, because we went from the last season, whatever it was, to what, the 4th?
Yeah.
I can't remember that far back.
I'm trying to think, was it the Special 4 before the 4th? No, it was the Masters.
Oh yeah, the Masters.
Yeah, it was the Masters 787B, yeah.
So we've kind of went straight through everything, not that everybody's raced on what the 4, but it was good, the majority of people there, so people we haven't really had like an off season for what is it, 9 races of Mazda, and then there was 9 races, but it was doubled up, wasn't it?
Yeah,
for over Christmas.
8 races around Christmas, yeah.
And you had the Christmas effects going in there as well, so we really haven't, nobody's really had a break to be precise. So after this season, I think once get a break and people can get to have that chance of
resting,
chilling out of it. Yeah.
But also being able to drive just for the pleasure of it, just for the fun of it. And it's not always, I mean, I know Conrad takes his racing seriously, and I know many do, but there is a big difference though, like if you're practicing for a race or you're in a race compared to when we have the random races where you can just relax a lot more. But yeah, unfortunately though, I just noticed as well, I don't know how I've just noticed, but it would appear that Rich Blues didn't actually get to the finish of that race. I think he may have had some technical issues, either that or he went off for an early Chinese like Jimmy did. And mentioning Chinese, actually, I was reading a story today that the pop icon Barry Gibb from the Bee Gees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right. Apparently, he used to love working in Chinese restaurants before he found fame. And he says you can tell because, well, you can tell by the way I use my walk.
For God's sake, who do you get these jokes from?
In fairness, I said that one a bit crappy, so, but yeah.
Whenever I take a drink when I'm a bit used.
It could be worse though. A man with a stutter was jailed, and the judge said he's unlikely to complete his sentence.
Oh, Jesus God.
But having said that, it could actually still be worse, because there was a COVID patient that was rushed to the local library instead of a hospital. And he told reporters he had to suffer in silence.
Fucking hell.
I apologise to those. And I've not said the one that Bunsell sent me. I'll save that for next week. Some interesting post-race comments as well this week. I think Dick Bignell's gone with a different direction with the questions there, which is quite interesting, I think. But I think he may have been trying to get a few more words. It was something about a TV show, I reckon.
Oh.
You did answer it with one word. But he asks a question to try and get more words out of people, and half the people just went with one word.
I forgot about a show, but it was the actual wife that told me. Why didn't you say that one? I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, the wife.
I wonder if you could guess it.
Oh Jesus. The Walking.
It was played by a young boy.
What?
It was a young boy. It was the main character of it.
I fear to wonder. I don't know. Young boy. Back to the Future. Billy Elliot.
The name. It starts with my first name.
Ray Charles.
Oh no, it doesn't. It ends with my first name. Sorry, it's got stuff in there. I just fucked that.
Ends with what? I have no idea what ends with Ray other than Stingray. Stingray.
Well, Ray isn't my first name.
What?
Raymond's my first name.
Oh fuck! Everybody loves fucking Raymond. Fucking hell. Apologies for my language. To be fair, I used to really enjoy that show. I did. But anyway, right. I think it's time to pretty much wrap up our commentary here, Ray. So I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me.
Problem with that.
And we'll now have a look at the confirmed race result. And we'll see what that has done to the championship standings now that Steve F1 will have closed that gap a little bit. Okay, confirmation then, and as you can see there are no penalties applied. There were a few things noted to the stewards that were passed on to the admins to deal with. Information about that should be on the Facebook page. Part of it was to do just to clarify whether Fluffy's unsafe return to track was an unsafe return to track. The answer is yes, it was. However, I think he did wait. Well, no, he did wait. Yeah, I don't think a penalty has been applied, but it's just confirmation that yes, it was an unsafe return to track, and we don't really want to be seeing it in that situation. Okay, so yeah, the result is as it was at the end of the race. Steve F1 taking the maximum 20 points ahead of SGP. Who capitalised on Demonar's error, although Demonar did well, I think, to not absolutely nail SGP in the process of binning it himself. Jason finishing 4th ahead of Mitch, Fluffy, Twilight, Bunsel, SRI, Jimmy, formerly Gary, Dave the Harp, Art Pal, and then we saw Hay and Conrad kind of choosing who was going to be across the line last. And as I mentioned, Rich Blue's unfortunate, difficult race for him, chose to retire from the race to not get in the way of anybody else, really, which is a difficult decision to make, but a fair one for himself. Okay, championship standings. SGP still leads the way on 107 points. He's now only 11 points in the lead. So yeah, second and third have changed places, so the gap still stays big, but it's Steve F1 in second now on 96 points ahead of Demonar on 93. Mitch, I think that fourth place is secure for him now, 78 points. He's ahead of Jason, who's 3 ahead of Conrad, and then there's a bit of a gap back to SRI, and he's got a 10-point gap over Dave the Harp. Fluffy only 1 behind him though. Twilight sits in 10th on 35 points, 1 ahead of formerly Gary. Jimmy sits in 12th on 27 points, and then Art Pal and Bunsel now tied on 13th place on 21 points. Rich Blues stays on 18 points, and Hay moves up to 13 points, but still 16th place ahead of Tyler in 17th. Next race is the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, so it's only half as nasty, but it's going to come twice as thick and fast, and that's the last thing we need, really. But it is going to be 56 laps of the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. It's going to be very, very quick. It's going to be a little bit like the Red Bull Ring short circuit that we did. The laps are going to come rapidly, and there's not a lot of a break for the drivers. It's going to be a tough one, I think, mentally, physically, potentially, because there's no real chance of a break around that track. I would highly recommend that the drivers get themselves some suckable sweets or some chewing gum or something, just to keep the moisture in the mouth, because they may find they don't get time for a drink here. Also, just to emphasise to the drivers as well, if you do happen to be to have a crash, then when you do try and get back onto the racetrack, just try and do it a little bit safer than Fluffy did today. Interesting comments as well about the post-race comments. Nothing to do with racing, all about what TV programmes to watch. Quite interesting selection there, and showing a few people's tastes. Anyway, yeah, only one more thing to do, and that is to say hit like, hit subscribe, click on the notifications bell to notify when we go live, which hopefully from now on is going to be at 8 PM on Sundays for a live recording of the race video. Anyway, have a good one, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again soon to see if SGP can really start taking a grip on that trophy. Have a good one, everyone, and we'll see you all again soon.